Hey guys, welcome to today's tutorial on how to set up DigitalOcean, buy a domain, then install a container in Docker using Docker in the server that you buy from DigitalOcean, and then expose that in the world. So also we're gonna set up encryption using not encryption, we can set up firewalls using UFW, and then certificates for the domain for free using Certbot. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. So my name is Boniface Miner, and I'll be instructor in this tutorial. So this tutorial is about how to set up. So what do you expect? So let me go back. So what do you expect at the end? So at the end, you'll be able to buy droplets from DigitalOcean. I have attached a link to the description below for a link to an affiliate link to DigitalOcean, whereby when you sign up using that link, you'll get $200 of worth of credit for 60 days. So yeah, you can go ahead and click on that link and you get $200 for free to test it out. Also, you know how to show you how to buy domains on Namecheap, then how to hook up those domains with DigitalOcean. Also, we are going to configure our own server. So in DigitalOcean, servers are called droplets. So we'll configure a droplet, add firewall, custom user, disable root logins, and I'll tell you why you need to disable root logins. Also, we're gonna set up login with SSH since that's the most secure way. So linking the domain to Namecheap, getting started with Docker, and then deploying a simple Node.js application powered by Docker, and then finally is on the firewall. We're gonna set up a firewall to just expose the only things we need from our application, and then finally we're gonna hook up all that using Nginx. So let's get started. So to buy a domain in DigitalOcean, these are the steps you need to follow, but I'll not go through the slides. I'll just get into it and show you how to do it. So let's get started. So as I've said, I'll share a link in the description below. If you click on that link, you get $200 for free to test DigitalOcean out for 60 days. So you can go ahead and do that. And then when you sign up or when you log in, if you already have an account, then you're gonna come to this dashboard. So on this dashboard, you can create a project. So I have a new project here called deploy project. So what we're gonna do is directly go ahead and click create. You can see the create button up here. And then you can select you want to create a droplet. So we are supposed to choose a region, but since I don't care about this currently, but in case you're building an application and your user is located in New York, you're gonna select the region that is closest to you. So actually I don't have to set up this one because it's just illustration to show you how to do it. So next is the data center. You're gonna leave it as the default. Then the OS that you're gonna be using. So in my case, I want to use Ubuntu and I want to be on the LTS version. So I can either use Ubuntu 2022 or Ubuntu 22 or 20. So we're gonna maybe choose 20 in these. So next up is the CPU. So I want the regular one because just for testing, not premium. So this one is just to show you how to deploy using DigitalOcean. Now I'm gonna choose the simplest one, which is about $4, which has 512 MBs of CPU, then 10 GB of SSD, and 500 GB transfer. So go ahead and do that. And then now here we need to create our authentication method. So the authentication method is how we're gonna log into our server. So in this case, we'll be using SSH. I'll show you how to set up an SSH key. So we're gonna click create a new SSH key, and then you can see there's a pop-up here saying add public SSH keys, and you can see DigitalOcean is trying to give you instructions on how to do that. So we're gonna do that in a bit. So this is my WSL. I'm using Windows, so this is my WSL. So just type SSH keygen. So I want to cd in a directory called .ssh because that's the convention. So if you don't have a directory, you can just create the directory. Because I have it, I don't need to create a new directory. So you can see here I have this is where I'll be storing my SSH keys. So this is where I need to run the SSH keygen command. So SSH keygen, generate a key, and then you're going to be asked a name, or just use a random name like deploy. I don't want to enter passphrase for now, but the passphrase is useful in case someone gets access to your computer and your SSH keys. So my SSH key is created. Then if I do ls, I can see my SSH key has been created called deploy, and then deploy.pub. So just to show you this one, I can remove it. Deploy, it's gone. I can generate a new SSH key. Then I can use a new name. So maybe call it digital. Let me call it digital, just for the sake. Just call it like that, my name. So unless again, you can see now you have bony.pub and bony. So the first one is the private key. So this one you don't share with the public, but you have a next one called bony.public. So this is what we want. So to show the content of this file, we need the contents from the bony.public and then add those into the DigitalOcean. So just cut bony.pub. Then you can copy this one and add it to DigitalOcean. So just add your SSH here, add a name, call it Boni, and then add SSH key. So that's as simple as that. So to recap, go write the SSH keygen command. If you already don't have the SSH key, or you maybe want to use this default SSH key, the ID underscore RSA, you may or may not have the ID underscore RSA. So you can just generate and don't type a name. It will immediately pick the ID underscore RSA, and then you can copy this. Just cut ID underscore RSA dot pub. So SSH keygen, then copy, and then add that to DigitalOcean, and then you can see you want one. I'll call this server maybe twin. You can call the server the name you want. It's because in case you have multiple servers like 20, you need to identify them. So you can just call this one, give them identical names. So that's what we have. You select the region, select the OS. I have just chosen Ubuntu 22, the basic plan. I want the basic, and then I want the regular type. I want the $4. Then I have added SSH key as my authentication method. Yeah, that's it. And then you can click create droplet. And then what you'll see is that the droplet will be created and you'll be assigned an IP address. So that IP address is your server actually. So that's the IP address to your server. So just wait for it to finish up. And then while it is finishing up, I would like us to do something more about, we can start by buying the domain, because buying the domain needs to propagate. So we can start with that, and then you can come continue and finish up on our server. So now on the domain, we're going to be using Namecheap. So just look for a domain. So go to namecheap.com, or maybe I'll add a link to the description. You can click through that link and go ahead, and you can use there is a coupon code newcom something, newcom. So you can add that coupon and you get free. So I want to use a cheap domain because this one is for illustration. So just use my GitHub username .lol. So let's wait and see. So Boniface LOL is available. Then I can add that to cart. So you can see there's always a coupon, but maybe you can there's a coupon somewhere. So you can go and check out. So there's a coupon code for Newcom 598 something. Yeah, you can check on that coupon. So let me just check on that coupon. So there's namecheap.com. There's a coupon that you can use and get. This one. So you can see there is the Newcom 598. So you can use that and then you'll get a coupon 50% off. I don't know whether it's 50% off or yeah. So you can automatically do that. So I'll go ahead and check out. So let me confirm the order and check out. So I need to log in. So I'll not show this screen now. I'll just check out and do all that and then I'll come back. Yes. So I'm back, and then after buying the domain, so I've just bought the domain boneface21.lol. And then, so what we need to do is, so just go to your account, and then go to domain list, and then select the domain you have just bought, and then you can go ahead and do that. So the next thing we are going to do is we are going to add DigitalOcean's name servers. So we are going to transfer the ownership of the domain from Namecheap to DigitalOcean, the registrars, so that Namecheap will only has only registered our domain, and then you can transfer that to DigitalOcean to manage it. So come to your domain, click on your domain, manage. So go to the domain list, click on the domain list, and then you get a list of your domains, and then click on the manage on your current domain that you have just bought, and then scroll down to the name server section and select custom DNS. So the custom DNS for DigitalOcean is ns1. We have three: ns1.digitalocean.com, ns2.digital.com, and then ns3, ns3.digital. And then you can save these. So to recap the steps, so this can take up to 48 hours. So that's why I've just told you that we need to start with this one and then go ahead and set up our server. So we have ns1, you go to the name servers, add your custom DNS, add DigitalOcean's name servers. Yeah, and that's it. So that's it on the end of Namecheap, and then next we'll go back to our server. So this is my server. I've just been given an IP. You can just go ahead and copy the IP address. You can come here and go to your IP. So there's nothing in the IP, so you have just been assigned an IP. Then we can add a domain. So let me go back so that you can follow along. So we have our droplet. Our droplet is our server, and then we can click on the three dots and then add a domain. So to add a domain, just bought a domain. So boniface.lol. So you can try to add the domain. So the domain has been added because we have just transferred the domains from Namecheap. So we have just pointed the domain to here. So here in the records, you need to create two records. So the art says is Boniface 220. So Boniface 221 dot. So let me check whether it's Boniface 221 dot lol. Yeah, that's right. So I'm gonna go back. So I need to delete this one. So it is Boniface 221 dot lol, and then we can add the domain. So we create an A record which points at the root, which is Boniface 221 dot lol, and then points to our droplet. So make sure you point to the droplet that you have just created. So that's why I told you you need to label your droplets correctly, because now I can easily see. So if there were even 50 servers, I could see which one. So we add that one, and then we add another one for www, select, and then create the record. So then you can go back. So we can go back to our domain, copy, and then we can go back to our terminal. So we have our IP. I can delete the home. So we have our domain. So that how do we actually log in into our domain? So we have our server. So how do we actually get into our server? So we normally do SSH, your username, then the IP address. But in this case, we are using SSH, and then SSH defaults by default checks for so you can see SSH by default checks for the ID underscore RSA. So it checks for that, but in our case we have our own SSH keys, so we are going to assign that. So to use that, so to log in, you just type SSH -i. So the -i specifies the path to our public, not to the path to our private key. So we can use the dot SSH, then slash Bonnie. So that's the name of the SSH key, and then I can show you that. You can see we have Bonnie and Bonnie.pub. So Bonnie.pub is a public, Bonnie is a private. So SSH-i to specify the path to our SSH, then .ssh folder, then Bonnie, then root, then our IP address. So you just say yes, and then we are into our system. So you can see I'm currently in at root at twin. So at twin, this is our droplet. So let me show you again. Twin is our droplet, this is our IP, and then we are logged in as root. Isn't that great? Yeah, that's great. So the next thing we are going to do is creating a new user, because we don't want to operate as root, because it poses some challenges. It is not considered the best practice to work as root. So we're going to create a new user, but before we create a new user, we need to update our software. So how do we update our software? So we just use apt. So we can say apt update to update the software, and then we can upgrade it. So there's update and then upgrade. So just wait for it to finish, and then just do apt upgrade. You can say yes, and then just wait for it to do finish. Okay, so we get a prompt here. Would you like to do about the modified? So just go with the default. So just press enter. So then we get a prompt here. Just go with okay. So just go with the defaults, and then so the next step is to shut down and restart our server for the changes to take place. So just write shut down now. You need to specify the time -r. So shut down now, right now, because if you don't specify the when to shut down, by default it should go to about 1 day from now, because it thinks you don't need to shut down it. So then -r for restart immediately. So you'll be kicked out of your server, and then it should be back online after a restart. So when the server gets back, so the next thing we're gonna do is to create a new user. So we don't want to operate as root, and I'll show you why in a few seconds. So let's see whether our server is back online. So we are back to our server. So the next thing I'm going to do is to create a new user. So how do you create a new user? So just add user. I just call the user my name. So then add a password. So then these ones I'll leave them as default. So just added the new user. I want to add the user as a sudo doer. So a sudo doer is a person who has sudo access, but to access the sudo privileges, he has to use the sudo command. So like sudo install, has to do sudo install, can't do install. So to do that, you use the user mod command. So dash add to group sudo. So the group is sudo, and then the username. So we have just added, and then you can switch to the user. Yeah, okay, so you can see now we are logged in as Bonnie on the left, Bonnie at root. So to check whether we have sudo access, we can check the auth log. The auth log is only visible to the sudo admins, those who have sudo access. So we can do sudo cat slash var, all the logs live at the var slash log. Then we want to look at the auth log. So the auth log is only visible to the sudo doers. Okay, so we have seen the sudo. So I want to explain a bit why you need to disable root login from your system, and then yeah, let me show you how you need. So if you check the auth log, so the auth log keeps track of everything happening on the server. So someone is trying to connect, someone is disconnected, someone is doing this, someone was doing this. So and then you can start to see invalid user stream. Someone is trying to get into our server. You can see connection closed for invalid user on port 59436. So people are eager to get into a system. When the system comes online, almost everyone is trying to get into a system to get access. You can see someone invalid user system, someone is trying the username system on this port. So you can see other people are trying so when the system comes online, people try to attack it, exploits, attacks. So that's why you need to disable root login to prevent all those stuffs from happening. So I've talked about why you need to disable root login. It's for security. So to do that, we are going to create an authorized key file. So we are going to create an authorized keys file. So to do that, just less here. Oh, just cd to the home route. There's nothing ls dash la. We don't have the SSH, so we're gonna create that directory. So okay, the dir.ssh cd.ssh, then we touch, although we touched a file called authorized underscore keys. So authorized underscore keys, and then we need to paste our public key here. So let me go back so we can exit. Then you can see if you exit from the new user Bonnie, then we go back to the previous root user because it did create a new shell from that. So you can need to exit and then cd.ssh ls and then cat bonnie.pub. Copy these, then cd back, and then so now we can go back to the server. So we actually in our server, so we can actually go back, switch user to the new user, cd to the home route, cd.ssh, then vi authorized, and then we can paste our authorized key here. So if you have never used Vim, you have few commands in Vim. So you have the I. When you press the I, so let me first quit, then show you how. So to edit a file using Vim, you just type Vim and then the file name. You get into these weird looking pad, and then to start writing, you need to press I to get into the insert mode. So you press I to get into the insert mode. To get out of insert mode, you press escape, and then you can write commands. So you press shift and colon, and then you can write commands. So we have quit bang. So this one is I want just to quit, don't do anything, just quit. So we have write and quit, and then you have write quit. So I'll go back to the insert mode, insert my public key, press escape, colon, write quit. That's it. So after pressing that, we need to try and exit. cd exit and then see whether we can log in with our own user. So now instead of root, we want to log in using my new user. So let's see. Yes, we are in of our system, and then you can see we are just in using the new user that we have just created. So these are the steps we have followed. So we have created an authorized underscore keys file in the .ssh folder. So cd.ssh, not that one, cd.ssh ls. So we created a folder called .ssh inside our new user's home directory, and then created a file called authorized underscore keys, and then we pasted our public key from our own server, our own machine where we are connecting from, then pasted that in, and then we are now able to log in using our new username. So next step is to disable root login. I've just talked about how I need to disable root login. We can do that again. So cd now vi slash not vi. I want to see the contents. Use cat slash log. So cd slash var or cd slash var ls. So you can see we have the log. All the logs live here. So cd, I want to go back to the home route. So to know you are in the home, you just get this tilde and then the $sign. So we want to cat slash var slash log slash auth dash log. So this is the authentication log. Now we need to sudo that. So we can just do sudo bang bang. Okay. The same issue I've just talked about. You can see, so you have new sessions for user Bonnie. So this is just me. Connection closed. Just want to see session 4 logged out. Someone is trying to log in using our root password. You see, no, our root user. So someone from this IP is trying to connect to our server. So that's why we need to disable the root login, because we don't want to receive multiple attacks. People are just trying to get into our system. So to disable the root login, we need to first, before we change the root login, we need to change the file permissions of what we have just created. So we want to change the file permissions to only us. So the permission of the authorized underscore key. So we want only us to be able to edit that file. All the other users can view but cannot edit. So how do we do that? Use the chmod command. Chmod and then 6444. And then give it the path. So the path is .ssh slash authorized underscore keys. That's done. And then to disable the root login, we need to edit the SSH config. So edit etc sshd underscore config. Okay, so here it can get cranky. If you mess up here, you just mess up your whole system. So just type slash and then virtual yes, so just search root. So just get into the insert mode, and then here you can see there is the permit root login, and then just say no. Press escape, right quit. So what did I do to recap? So sudo vi slash etc slash ssh slash ssh d dash config. Let's do that again. I want to look for permit root login. So just type slash in vim, then start typing root, and then they can come up root login. So I can root so slash permit. I'm just showing how to type. So you can go to the permit root login. Or you can just scroll. So you can just scroll and look for it. We can do multiple things here, but generally don't want to do that. So you can see permit root login and then say as, so I want to quit since I did save mine, but you can just write quit on your case. So next stuff is after changing the configurations, you need to restart the service itself. So sudo service sshd restart. So sshd is restarted, and then you can try to exit and then try to log in as a root and see what happens. Permission denied. Yes, so we have successfully configured root not to login. We have created our own user, added them to the sudo doers, and then we have disabled the root login. So, but if I try to log in using my user, so this is my user, then you can see I'm allowed to log in using my user. The next thing we are going to tackle on is how to install Nginx on our server, because we're going to use Nginx to proxy our request from the world to our Docker container that will run a simple Node.js application. So let's do that. So we can do sudo apt install nginx. We pass our password, say yes, and then let's wait. So nginx is installed. Just to make sure it's running, so we do sudo service nginx start. Hopefully it is working. Now we can try going back to our server and see. Yes, so nginx has been configured successfully, and then we don't know whether our domain is logged in. So the bonface 21.lol. So the domain might not yet has. Yes, our domain has resolved. That's great. Great job. So our domain is hooked up. Even if we use our IP, everything is now hooked up. Our domain is hooked up and nginx is running. So let's continue. So having set up our nginx, the next thing I'm going to do is to create. I'm not going to explain so much about nginx. Maybe I can create a tutorial about that. If you really interested, you can just comment on the videos. So what I'm going to show you is just follow along if you don't know how to use nginx. And then, so even before doing sudo, so you can just do this /etc/nginx. Then ls here, you can see we have different stuff. We have sites enabled and sites available. For now, I just want us to focus on sites enabled, so we can just see it there. So we currently have a default site. So you can see our default. So this one is serving a HTML file that we saw on the landing page when you visited our website. So what we are going to do now is create our own. So I'm going to vi bonface 221.lol. So you can call it anything here, so you're not restricted from writing anything, but just be descriptive, because in case your domains get too many, you might get confused on which is which. So just press enter, and then on the contents, so I have a link to a repository I just created. So this one, So I'll share the link in the comment section. Go through these and go and copy the section saying on Nginx. So just copy, then you can go back and paste this. I don't know whether I did sudo here, but let's see whether it will. Can try to quit. We can't actually. So just escape, quit, and bang. So that's one says I just want to quit, quitting Vim. I just want to quit. So then I can do sudo bang bangs 2. So this one runs the previous command with sudo. So yeah. So then I can paste my configuration. So let me explain a little bit about this. So these are server blocks. So we have server blocks in Nginx. So this one is listening on port 80 on IPv4, IPv6. Then the root is var/www.html, index, the server name. Now the server name, you need to add your own server name, because when it comes to subdomains, these server names really help to differentiate from that. But in case you don't need a subdomain, you can remove the server name. But if you don't know about Nginx, maybe a later on tutorials, and we are creating a location here which is going to be used as a proxy pass. So a proxy pass, it literally says, so this request comes from boneface221.lol, proxy pass that to this URL. So this URL is the localhost. So this is like the localhost of the server. So we are inside the server. And then, so let me look for paint and I try to explain. So let's assume this is our server. Then let's assume this is the world. So inside here is our local host, and then this red button here we can say is Nginx. So this one is where, so this is where Nginx is living, and then a request comes in from boneface221.lol. This one is our world. It comes into Nginx. So inside here, things are running like localhost port 3000, localhost port 5000, 10,000. So these ones are not exposed. We are going to configure firewalls to prevent this one from being exposed. Then Nginx is leaving. So make this one big. Let me use blue. So Nginx is living here on this red border, and then so it gets a request, and then it doesn't know to the request, but if you use the proxy pass, it is saying, hey, this request needs to be passed on to the port, and let's say this is the app running on port. So this is our app. The green one is running is a Node.js application running on port 3000. This one is a Django application. Django application is this one running on port 5000. So Nginx, maybe we have a subdomain for slash, so let's say django.boneface.lol. So requests are coming from boneface, no, django.boneface.lol, and then we can say Nginx, when you get that request, proxy pass that to our Django. When you get the request from the domain main app, main domain, proxy pass that to our Node.js application, and many more. We can have very many here. We can have database running here. Everything can run here. So to continue, so what are we doing? So when you get a request from boneface221.lol, then we proxy pass that to port 3000. So this is where typically Node.js applications run. Then press escape, write and quit. That's it. So that's it on Nginx. So you can go back home, and then we can try to test. So sudo service sudo service nginx restart. Okay, so we did we did create a new site with its own block, but we did not hook it up to Nginx. So what do we do? So we use sudo vi /etc/nginx/nginx.conf. So this is the configuration for Nginx, and then you can come here and then add our site. So don't worry about this, just follow along and everything will be right. So here on the sites enabled, we want press I to insert, and then we want boniface.lol. Okay, so if we have multiple, you just come here, include them. Yeah, and then escape, right quit. Then you can try the sudo service nginx. So sudo service so we are getting an error. So sites enabled boniface 221, so not boniface. So we go back to this one and then change it to boniface 221. I hope I did not break anything, so let me just quit, then do it again. Insert, then boniface 221, escape, right quit. Sudo. So we just restart Nginx when you change the configurations. So next is to test. So we just do sudo nginx -t. Configuration is successful, and then we are next up to our next section. And then, so to recap, what have we done? So we have just created, we have bought a droplet, that's basically a server, bought a domain, Namecheap, transferred the registrars to DigitalOcean, connected the domain to a droplet, installed Nginx. Now previously we did upgrade our software, installed Nginx. Now we are on the next step, whereby we are going to install Docker and start working with Docker. So that's what we are going to do next. But before then, we have some few challenges that we need to fix currently. So currently everything is accessible from the world. So we need to install a firewall, and in our case we are going to use firewall called UFW. This one is what we call uncomplicated firewall. So this one will, so if I go back to this one, so now the firewall, so let me make this one big. So the firewall will be here. It's not possible to see. This is where the firewall will be living. And now the firewall will only allow access to what we allow it to do. So you're just going to allow access to the HTTP, SSH, HTTP, and SSH. So yeah, so let's go back and finish up on that. So the first thing is sudo UFW status. So the UFW is inactive. we need to allow SSH, because if you don't allow SSH, so this one is a disclaimer actually, so let me just write it here. So allow SSH. So if you don't allow SSH, you will not be able to connect through SSH to your server. Okay? Yes. You will not be able to SSH to your server, and don't know how you need to access your server. So you'll be locked out of your server and you'll have to repeat all that process. So to prevent that, first step is always to sudo UFW allow SSH. So just first allow SSH, then we allow HTTP, we can also allow you HTTPS, and then we can enable our firewall. So sudo w enable, yes, exit, and then if we try to log in, yes, we are allowed to do that. So then you can see whatever we have just done. So yeah, we have allowed 20. So that's it for UFW, the firewall. So we have just configured the firewall. So that's over for the firewall. So next up is to allow application upgrades. So how do we allow application upgrades? So we want our system to be upgrading. If software are upgraded, we want to go continue upgrading. So how do we do that? So we install unattended packages. So you just do sudo, might be installed, but it's best to just check it if it is installed. So it was already installed, and then we can do sudo unattended app upgrades, then say yes, and then that's it. So the next step is to, I hope you just saw, if we go back here, our connection is not secure. So the next step is to, install, to make sure SSL is working. So we can go back, and then instead of even going back, so you can come here, there is Certbot. So go to this link, I'll add this link in the description. So certbot.eff.org/instructions. Come and pick your software. Nginx. System is Ubuntu 20. I guess I picked 22, but I don't think there is an issue. So just follow these steps. So the first one is sudo apt remove certbot. Just going to do that. This one, sudo apt get remove. We don't have certbot. We go to the next. So I also have instructions here on how to do it. So you can also follow these steps here. So You can follow these. Then wait for it to install. So that's done. So next is you have removed. Then we do this sudo snap install. You can also follow from here. Sudo snap install this one. Grab these and then add it. So then you're going to just follow these steps. So you come here, add that. Then you can do this. Enter the email address. Certbot. You can just add your own email. Just say yes. So we are requesting a certificate for Boniface 221.lol. That's done. So finishing up is to test the dry run. We want Certbot to be renewing our certificate occasionally. Simulating the renewal. Yeah, that's it. So that's done. So that's it on the Certbot. And then if you refresh here, you should see. So let me just show you this. So now you should see our site is secure. So hope you are following along. If you fail, you can see our certificate is here. So next up is on installing Docker, and then configuring a simple service for Docker. So to install Docker, just do sudo apt install docker.io. Then you can say yes. Then wait for Docker to install. Also, you don't need to know Docker stuff. So just go to this directory. That's what I want to. I want to create a directory here to hold my application. Sudo make directory app ch on Bonnie / Bonnie, now colon Bonnie, then app. Then you can see the app. I want to create an app.js file. So if you don't know JavaScript, don't worry. So we have a simple JS file. If we go back here, copy this, and then vi-app.js. No, I just typed wrong. Quit and bang. So vi-app.js, insert mode I, then paste, escape, colon, right quit, ls, and then you can see our app.js. So to dockerize this application, just need to create a file called docker file. So vi docker file. So come here and copy the docker file from here. I for insert, copy, escape, right quit. So what is happening here? So we are from node. So if you don't know Docker, don't worry, this is relatively simple. So right quit, so clear, and then let me show you something. So Docker PS, I have a permission denied. So instead of doing sudo on Docker, we need to add my own user to the group, to the Docker group. So how do you do that? Sudo user mod. We did this -ag docker bunny. So if I do Docker PS here, sudo user mod -ag docker bunny. User mod. So I think it did modify. We need to exit the application and come back. So just exit and come back. This one is our IP. Yeah, that's it. So we can go back to our /var/ww/app. So we want to build this application using Docker. So to use that, we just follow around with my commands. So docker build -t to target my, no, I can just call it Bonnie's node app. Then specify the directory of our Docker file. So just press enter. Okay, we have an error. So I just realized there was an error somewhere. So here it needs to be ch on, like that. So in your case, you'll find it updated, so don't worry. So in my case, I need to vi docker file, then I to insert, then ch on, not chon, like that. Escape, right quit, go back to docker build, Bonnie's node app, and then our node app is building. Yeah, so let's wait. So this is how you build apps using Docker. So we can confirm that our application is still not working. You can see we have an error of 542 bad gateway. So to run a Docker application, you have two ways. So you can run the application right. So let me show you. Docker run -p, you give it the outside port, that's the 3000 3123. How do I call it? So -t, so -it Bonnie's -node. So we just ran, and then you can see we are now hanged in into our server. So hopefully this one should be routing correctly. So you can see, oh my god, hi. So this is what we added in our, now this is the problem. So you can see our server is actually running, but in case I press Ctrl C, our server is not closing. Why is that? So we currently have a shell that is running, and we don't have a way to stop it. So just close this connection and create a new one. So just close this one. So let me create a new one, and then I'll show you why we are facing that error. So if we start here, so our server is still running the Node.js application. So you can see our application is running, and then I can kill it. 72. So you get a 542 bad way. So get free. So when using Docker, you can specify that you want the application to run in detached mode. So let me see what I have. Okay, so you might want to run the application in the detached mode. So this is what the container, so just add the dash d. So this is what the container mappings do. So we have the inside, so the container, the outside world port, so the port that this one should be listening on, and then the inside in the container. So the container exposes port 3000, and then outside the container we expose 3000, and then dash d we wanted to run in the touch mode, and then we run our application, which is Bonnie's Node.js app. So if you run this, you can see a hash. Our application is running in the background, and if you do docker ps, you can see our application is running. And then if we refresh here, we can get oh my god hi. So where is this oh my god hi coming from? So vi, no, cd /var /ww /app vi app.js. So this is what is running. So we have http equals require http. So maybe you're asking how is that? So let's see. Escape, right quit, docker ps, docker kill ea. So docker build, this one. So then let's see whether, so in docker you just have to rebuild the application and then run it again. So you can see the contents. So how is this working? So this is how it is working. So we have, the first thing we have is docker is exposing port 3000 on the localhost of the machine. So where is that localhost? This is the localhost. So this is the localhost. Inside here is our localhost. This is our machine, which is protected by the firewall, which is red. So this one is our localhost, and then inside here in the localhost we have a docker container which is running a simple Node.js application. and expose it port 3000. So here we have a 3000 port exposed. But who is pointing this? Who is saying that this is what should render? So we have Nginx sitting here also. So we have the firewall and then Nginx. So let me see whether I can draw. So that is the firewall. So we have Nginx. We have Nginx maybe there. And then if we get a request from Boniface 221, since we have allowed the HTTP port, so Boniface 221.lol gets here, is allowed by the firewall. It's getting to Nginx, then Nginx does the stuff I showed you about proxy. So we can cd slash /etc/nginx slash sites dash enabled. So vi Boniface. So this is what I was talking about. So don't worry about all the other stuff. So we have the location. So when you get a request from boneface221.lol, that one is proxy passed to port 3000. Why is this port 3000? So this port is in our server. It's just like running a local application in our server, and then someone else is pointing to it. So if you have a subdomain, you can have another location block here, which proxy passes, not here. Maybe we can create another server, then give it the server name of boneface221.lol. No, like test.boneface221.lol. Proxy pass that to another application. So that's how everything is working. So we can just quit here. So that's it for today. So that's what you can see. Application is running. You can run a Node.js full application here. You can run anything you want from here actually. So since time is going, I'll not continue with that. So I'll just finish up on the slides. So we did all these, bought a VPS in DigitalOcean, disable root login, all that. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments section. I'll answer them as soon as I can. And then thank you for tuning in. And if this tutorial was of any help to you, you can just subscribe to this YouTube channel. And that's it. See you guys in the next tutorial, maybe. So thank you for tuning in. Great, thanks. Great job.